I really shouldn't be making this video right now, because I have two other very big videos I'm in the middle of doing. One is very close to completion, and the other is not as close. And I should be working on those, but I just had to make a video about this because of a recent follower of mine on Twitter. Mikey Weinstein? Yeah. Anyway, he recently followed me on Twitter. Thank you very much, Mikey. It is an honor to have you as a follower of mine. I didn't think I would have anyone as important as yourself following little old me. For any of you who do not know, Mikey Weinstein is the founder and president of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, a person who is advocating for secularism, the separation of church and state within our United States military. Which is a very, and when I say very, I do mean, most people say you shouldn't use very because it slows the, no, not in this case. I do mean very in this. Very important thing to do with chaplains of Christianity, Islam, and every other falsehood under the sun being represented in our United States military and putting in this garbage in their head while they are at their most vulnerable and most stressed. I find it very, very disgraceful that these people do take advantage of important people like our servicemen and women. It is very disgraceful of them to do so, but they do, of course, because they're religious. But Mikey here, he is our champion and our knight to stop them from doing this disgraceful act. But anyway, this isn't so much a blowjob for Mikey, except, for the past, however, 2 minutes or so. This is more of a attack, of course, on the stupid, infinitely stupid Pat Robertson. Of course, because at any time when someone's trying to do good in the world, Pat Robertson has to come along and fuck it up for everyone else. So, without further ado, Pat, let's get going.
There's a left-wing radical named Mickey Weinstein.
I'm not even going to comment on how somehow just saying someone is left-wing is somehow an insult and discredits them. I don't think you should do that with either political wing or any political party. You shouldn't just label someone something and be like, well, that's good enough, Insulting people or slandering people, that's an argument. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just going to read this off of the website, the Military Religious Freedom Foundation's website, about Mikey Weinstein. A registered Republican, he has also spent over 3 years working in and for the West Wing of the Reagan administration as legal counsel for the White House. Fail.
Who has got a group about people against religion or whatever he calls it.
Military Religious Freedom Foundation. That is what he calls it. And it's not that they're against religion. They're just against religion being in the state. Religion permeating and twisting and turning every bit of civilization we have here in the United States specifically. Yeah. We're against that, and so should you. Even as a Christian, you should be against religion working its way through the state. Because, yeah, right now Christianity is the major predominant religion by far here in the United States. But guess what? There are many other religions, and they are growing in the West and in the United States. And soon, I'm not saying soon as in next year, in the next 10 years, the next 20 years even, but soon, within my lifetime, Christianity probably won't be the predominant religion. You know what will be? Islam.
And he has just terrorized the armed forces.
This pisses me off. This really fucking pisses me off. Because it definitely isn't the religious extremists, not in his mind, that are terrorizing people. Not just in the military, but around the world. Oh no, it's not them. It's this guy trying to fight for religious freedom. The ability to have a distinction between, okay, this is the state, this is public matters, these are official matters that are important, and your own nonsense that you can fuck around with in your own private life. There is a difference there. There should be a difference there. And that's what he's fighting for. Is not to end religion. It's not to persecute religious people. It's not to persecute anyone. It's to say, you can believe what you want on your time, but when it's time to talk about reality, it is time to talk about reality.
You think you're supposed to be tough, you're supposed to defend us.
I'm going to ask my audience one simple question. Who looks tougher? This guy or this guy? If it came down to it, who do you think would win in a fight? Pat Robertson or Mikey fucking Weinstein?
And you got one little Jewish radical who is scaring the pants off of you. You want these guys flying the airplanes to defend us when you got one little guy terrorizing?
I don't understand this clip. Like, I've listened to this thing multiple times now, and I cannot make any fucking sense of anything he's saying. One little Jewish radical. He's not Jewish or a radical. He might look and his last name might sound ethnically Jewish, but that really has nothing to do with what we're talking about here, Pat. And he's not a fucking radical. If he's fucking radical, then the founders of the country were radical. Then Thomas Jefferson was radical. The fuck are you talking about? You're radical, Pat!
You know, we swear oaths and so help me God.
Pat, have you never even heard of a document called the Constitution? Like, literally, have you never even heard of this mystical, magical document? Like, okay, I guess you haven't. I'm just going to assume that you haven't read this document, or even heard of this document. I recommend it. It's a must-read for people who live in this country, I'm just saying. But there's this part of the Constitution, it's called Article 4, Paragraph 3. And in it, it states that the senators and representatives before mentioned, the members of the several state legislatures, all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or aforemention to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States. Pat!
Well, what does it mean? It means that with God's help, you don't have to say you believe in God, you just say, I want some help beside myself.
If you listen to any soldier from anywhere talking about, well, anywhere in the civilized world, if you talk to any soldier from the West or any civilized world, what they're fighting for, what they're thinking of when they're in the foxhole, they're not thinking about God. They're not thinking about the empire. They're not thinking about anyone except for the people next to them. They're not even thinking about themselves, Pat. The thing you don't fucking understand. They are fighting for the people around them, trying to keep the people around them alive. But you are so out of touch from fucking reality, Pat, that you can't even understand that. That you think everyone's just doing things for God, and if it wasn't for God, why would anyone do anything? Fuck you, Pat. You don't fucking know anything.
It's just crazy.
No, Pat, you're just crazy. It might seem like a little difference, in the wording there. You were almost right about something. Almost.